Yes.
Well, it looks like we're live. Yes, indeed, we are live.
Yes.
3 seconds in. Hi, everyone. And tonight we're going to talk about, well, the sad news that's been on the news today, when the news broke that Prince Phillip, Duke of Edinburgh, has died. So we thought we'd give some insights and thoughts about that.
And we'd like to give our condolences to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II on her sad news. We feel very, very grieved for her.
So we thought it'd make quite a nice, interesting one to talk about today, particularly, with view of what's going to happen. This is going to leave a sort of a bit of a vacuum, and how things might progress, the things that might happen from this, because we've made a number of royal predictions. As you know, I did sadly, I suppose, predict that he would die in my predictions at the beginning of this year in 2021 as one of my main predictions. But it was, and I think you mentioned it too on one of our things too when we were doing the royal stuff. But nonetheless, whatever the case, it's sad, and we're going to tell you a few ideas about that. But we're going to say hello to everybody as you join us tonight, and with your thoughts. And I'd like you to share your thoughts tonight and any feelings and thoughts you have about this, because we'd like to make this interactive. So Rosie is saying, rest in peace, Prince Philip. The news, although sad, was not a shock. No, he's 99, isn't he? It was going to be 100 this year. And I recall the predictions. Good, you do, yes. And let's face it, 1999 isn't young. 1999 isn't young. And God bless him. Yes, it's very sad news. I mean, I think, whatever you think about royalty.
And what a year the royal family have had too.
Hey, everyone, says Robert. Hiya, Robert. And my name's Rob, and I'm from North Carolina. Good, you're in early for the States. You must be quite early in the morning, I think, evening there, isn't it? Hello from Cornwall, Agility Bits. Thank you, Pat, as we know you, and talking to you on the Patreon channel
Patrice
yesterday.
from Germany.
Patrice from Germany again.
Good evening here. And Hannah, evening both. Evening, Hannah. How are you? You know Hannah, do you?
I don't know.
You never met her? Well, she's a lovely friend.
On
she's
Facebook, obviously, so must know.
No, she's clairvoyant. She's been
Hi, Craig
here.
and Jane. Ava. Hi there, Ava. Got your mask on, I see. Lorraine. Hi, Lorraine from Wareham and Dorset. We like it down that way, don't we? It's excellent down that way. One of my favourite places on earth, all down that coastline.
And Caroline Hunter. Hi from Washington. Tyne and Wear. Hi, Caroline.
Tyne and Wear in Washington. Tyne and Wear. Oh, that's England, isn't it? Tyne and Wear. Washington. There must be a second Washington.
And Justin. Hope you're both well. Hi, Justin. How are you? And Kim. Hello to you both. Hello, Kim. She lives just at Hedge End.
So we've got quite a few local people coming in here, I see, to us tonight.
Local people for local people.
Local predictions for local people. Good evening, Greg and Jay from Gosports. Well, that couldn't be more local, could it? Just down the road.
Indigo, lovely.
Indigo, thank you for joining us again. And hey, Jane and Craig from North Carolina. Craig, did you sadly predict the death of Prince Philip? Yes, you probably saw it on my earlier predictions in the year, in the royal predictions we did, yeah. And also on the website, I've got it posted there as well. So I did, didn't I? But I don't feel glad about that. Obviously, that's always a funny thing with predictions when you you get something right, you think, oh, I got it right, and you think, oh my God, it's right. What a shame,
Right, Kitty Whiskers. Hello from Manchester. Do you see the Queen retiring from service now, or will she carry on until she passes? I think the Queen is going to carry on, and she's going to support, of course, from Prince Charles and William.
Yeah, okay, we're quite right into the questions, which is a good idea, actually, because we were thinking, Jane and I were talking about it as well, of course, and, and I think the Queen, don't you, Jane's going to carry on.
Oh, yes.
She's going to carry on as long as she can. There's that huge vacuum there, and this would be a good point to abdicate and pass over the crown to Charles.
She won't.
I don't think she will. I mean, we're going to have quite a lot of period now of reconciliation and the mourning period. She's going to have 8 weeks of mourning. Then we're going to have the funeral, which I presume would be 8 weeks time.
I don't think he wants a big state funeral. He did say that.
Well, they can't do it because of coronavirus. So
no.
It's going to be. So good morning, Neil. Good morning, Craig and Jane. We'll carry on talking in a minute about some of our others. So it's 4 a.m. in Melbourne,
you're
Australia.
dedicated.
Yeah, 4 a.m. Hi from India. So sorry for your nation's loss.
Oh,
yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. I think many people around the world look to the royal family as examples of people, partly with curiosity and sort of nosiness with them.
And on the news
we
today,
see them as very important
Tonga, the King of Tonga.
Well, yeah, we were going to talk about this. Yeah, King of Tonga.
Yeah, they worshipped him, and they had photographs of him. I just think it affects them too.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you've seen that, but it's in the South Pacific, and they believe that he is actually a god. They treat him as a god. They have this idea of worshipping someone at a distance, and they got photographs of him everywhere. So they must be absolutely.
I don't think he ever visited there.
He never actually visited. No, he did visit the South Seas, but never went there, which I think is a bit sad. If he was cremated, send him some of the ashes.
No, they can't do that.
They wouldn't do that. But I mean, yeah. So he's an interesting figure. Hello from Old Shaftesbury Town, Dorset.
Yeah, so it's from Craig. Alison.
Alison, hi there, Alison. Looks like you've been out for a walk, Alison. We could all do with that. Linda's saying good evening, Craig and Jane from Cyprus.
Good evening, Linda. I know Linda. She's been here for a reading with me.
Hello from Great Missenden. I know Great Missenden. I think we've been there. But it's Great Missenden. I can't think where it is. Never mind. But hi, Dee. Nice of you to join us. I think it's up in the South Seas somewhere, isn't it? Hello from the USA. Jana.
Hello, Jana. Tracy. 2 p.m. in the Carolinas.
Yeah, 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
Where's that?
I'm not sure. Is that Carolina, USA?
John says, hi from Scotland.
Same
hi,
time
John.
as we got. Mm-hmm. Hello from Huntington Beach, CA, California.
Laura.
And just saying good evening from Munich.
Good evening, Angela.
And Cyram, Craig and James from Priya.
Yeah.
Hiya. Cyram to you as well. Good evening, Craig and James from London. And here comes Boo to say hello
from Southampton.
Hello from Staffordshire. Hello, Boo. You're going to come up and say hello to everybody. You never come and say hello. Hello from Boo.
Graham says hello from Surrey.
From Boo.
Yeah.
That's why I quite obviously is looking down sometimes when we're talking. My thought goes to Her Majesty the Queen. Nothing ever prepares you for widowhood.
Of course it doesn't.
Yes, no, indeed.
It doesn't matter who you are.
But at least they had long lives, both of them. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, they seem to have been there forever, don't they?
Yeah, but she's going to feel sad, isn't she?
Yeah.
He's always been by her side.
Hello from Pennsylvania. I hope you both are well. Yes, thank you. We are. So if you're just joining us, we are tonight going to be talking about the death in the royal family. So thanks for joining us. Hello, Ginger Tea. And we'll talk about that after we said a few hellos. Good evening from Norway, from Sunniva.
Nana, hi from Totten. Why are you looking at me, Craig?
There's also a long delay when you say hello to people. I sort of wait. Is Jane going to speak?
For a change.
Hello from Ireland. From Ireland. Ireland itself, the nation of Ireland, that says hello. Hello, Ireland.
Go on, Craig.
Will Jane speak?
No, you said. I'll give him the difficult names.
Portugal. Oh, that's why you don't speak, because you're worried about pronunciation.
No, I'm not.
I get them all wrong anyway. Janan, got the name, I think. Right. Hello there. Do you see Prince Phillip meet with Princess Diana? Well, we can talk about the sort of things that are going to happen in the spirit world. So are we going to questions now then? Okay, so today's topic, as we said, is the death of Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. And we like your interaction, your questions with all this as we go, because obviously we haven't had a lot of time to prepare for this, because it's only just happened this morning, hours ago, really. And it's going to leave quite a big gap in the
yes,
the
I think this is going to stir up a lot of hornets' nest. especially I can see Harry being really upset, and I'd be very surprised if his wife comes.
Yeah, this was obviously one of the first questions, apart from the, obviously sad, but I mean, one of the first questions about what's going to happen from this. I mean, when me and Jane watch TV, it's not like most people watching TV. We're kind of sort of thinking what's going to happen next. We're kind of getting into our prediction frame of mind, both of us. But I think it's going to leave, it's a shock. But I immediately thought about what's going to happen with Harry. Is he going to come over? I'm sure Harry would come.
Well, I think they're probably.
I don't think Meghan will.
Or they'll probably say because she can't come because she's heavily pregnant.
Well, Meghan, yeah.
That's what they'll say.
Yeah, and also...
You don't want to face the royal family, basically.
Yeah, and it makes me also think about, I mean, they got their big launch coming up on Netflix now, haven't they? They got the first show they're going to do on Netflix, which they made all these hundreds of millions of dollars or pounds on, is the Juventus games, wasn't it? They got a thing about Harry and the games, and let's have the limelight on us, and that's going to kind of have to be put on the back burner.
Yeah.
So I don't think that Netflix is going to either not going to do very well.
Yeah, I think Prince Charles was aware that his father's end was coming soon, because when he visited him in hospital, he had very emotional tears in his eyes.
We were saying.
I think they were told, and it was his wish to come home to Windsor Castle.
And it wouldn't surprise me the press knew a bit about it as well.
Well, I don't know. I think they were really aware.
I actually had a thought. I don't think Meghan will come here, but I had a feeling a while back that I saw Meghan coming to somewhere, like being in a public place. Maybe it's in America, maybe it's here, and everybody literally turned their backs.
Well, I think they will, because
physically turn their backs on her,
because at the end of the day, the royal family, history, you can't just wipe history out. And I do feel sorry for the Queen. I think it's going to open up a lot of heartache for Harry, because he'll be thinking of his mother around this time as well, Princess Diana.
Because if you think of it as purely as a family, nothing to do with royalty, just people, I mean, when there's a major death like that, when Granddad goes over, the whole family.
Well, he's the backbone to the royal family, wasn't he?
Yeah, he is.
He's very stern, wasn't he?
He was absolute a symbol of Britishness, really. Sometimes Britishness, silliness as well, with his gaffes and things like that, which I thought were brilliant. I mean, he used to watch him just for his gaffes.
His childhood was very difficult for him, because his father cleared off with a mistress in the south of France, and then his mother had Princess Alice had a nervous breakdown, and then at a young age, I believe he had 4 sisters too, and there's tragedy there where he lost his sisters, and his mother was put in a psychiatric hospital because she had a breakdown.
Well, they're saying it's more than a breakdown. On a lot of the reports about it, it's actual full-on schizophrenia. And they don't necessarily call it schizophrenia nowadays.
Years ago,
she had religious
hallucinations, they would have called it. So she might not have been schizophrenic, because
often common with that.
Anybody in the royal family who's interbred or mental problems, they tend to hide them away.
Yeah, which has happened a lot. I mean, there's been an awful lot of things like that, not just in the British royal family, but the Spanish royal family had all sorts of oddities and things going on in there, both inbreeding between all the royal families.
But he did have a difficult childhood, and I believe he was sent away to boarding school, and his father and maternal grandfather, they were in the Navy.
Yeah, Navy mad, wasn't he? A bit like the way Harry, who we've got on here, the question asking, Harry was army mad, really, wasn't he? But it was exactly the same for Philip. I mean, he loved the Navy. He actually even fought up to a point. They say he saved his ship, didn't they, from harm in Sicily, the fighting in Sicily, which was vicious fighting in Sicily. That was some pretty going there.
The Queen was 13 years old when she actually set eyes on him, and I believe he was 16 at the time, because there'd been a loss in the family of Cecile, one of his sisters, and I think he was quite good looking, blonde hair and blue eyes, quite good looking.
Yeah.
Like, is it a Greek Greek Adonis?
Well, he's Greek, wasn't he? He changed his name to Mountbatten. But we actually stayed in the hotel, didn't we, in Malta, where they went on honeymoon.
Yes.
Lovely hotel.
The ballroom was
Phoenix
nice.
Hotel, I think it was a Phoenix or Phoenix or something.
Phoenix
it was
in
itself.
Valletta.
And in Valletta, absolutely beautiful. And it had the whole, you could kind
The
of
photographs
imagine
and everything.
the Queen there, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And Prince Philip. I mean, the happier
honeymoon.
days, you know. I mean, they've been through a lot together. You know, I mean, they've had massive family traumas.
Well, divorces and one thing, and then scandals, like any family.
Except they got the money and the care and the constant attention. Was
maybe
kind of helps.
so, but money can never take away if you're very bereaved and lost somebody. Money couldn't replace that, Craig.
So will Harry come back home? I think when Kay here is saying, you know, I would assume that Kay's saying, "Is Harry going to come back home permanently?"
No, I don't think so.
Because I think he'll have to come back for the funeral.
But he'll have to go back for his wife because birth of the baby, a little girl.
To go back, obviously go back to America. He's going to do that, so it'll be temporary. I should imagine they're going through quite a lot of difficulties, and Harry himself must be going through some major inner stress with this. You know, I mean, what do you think is going to happen when Harry approaches the Queen? You know, are we going to see them together, stood on balconies?
Well, I think
things like,
I think the Queen will open her heart to Harry. It's her grandson. I don't think the Queen's that bad. I think, if anything, it'd be Princess Anna giving what for. She's very forthright.
Yeah, well, and straightforward. I mean, she could sort him out. Actually, I should think. I do imagine her voice.
I think.
Thank you, Aries, for that. That's very kind.
Their opinions have changed. What's that?
Aries just given $170 and just thank you very much. And
Who's
said,
that?
hope that the Queen doesn't pass at least 2 years with each other. That's Aries here. So thank you very much for that donation.
Yes, thank you. It all helps us.
Yeah. So it's it's very I lost my track.
You lost your mind. They're coming to take you away.
Yeah.
About the Queen.
We want to think about what's going to happen with it. You see, I think it's going to make things a lot worse. For particularly, my thoughts went first to the Harry and Meghan syndrome, because this has all been the main sort of press type of focus, hasn't it? And it's going to take the limelight
and of
off
course,
them, but
Princess Anne's daughter's ready to give birth to a baby too. Oh no, she has.
I think the Queen.
No, that's right. She had a little boy.
I think
Zara.
I think the Queen's going to keep going, don't you?
Well,
really,
yes.
Aries there said about, I hope the Queen doesn't pass in at least 2 years. I think we'll get at least 2 years and more.
Yeah, I think, everybody's heart to go out to the Queen. It hasn't been an easy job for her, has it? Because she was only in her 20s, about 23, 24, when her father, King George, died.
Yeah, I mean,
Philip had to break the news to her, apparently.
Did he?
Yes, yeah. She was Queen.
And if you think about what it's like for Philip now, because I mean, you don't just think about, I mean, when you're a medium and you know that there's life after death, it's a proven thing to me and Jane, and I'm sure to many of you watching this here, you've had good messages from people. Philip now will be in a state where he has made his first stage in his transition to the next world. So he's probably still
healing,
sort of in that point of
he's healing,
awakening to the next life, isn't it?
Was it 11 o'clock you said he passed?
I think it was round about 11 o'clock in the morning. That's the time
the number
I saw
11, the number 11 means connecting to heaven and earth.
It might have been a bit earlier than that. That's when the news broke, as far as I could see. He would have, they say when a person goes into the spirit world, because they've had it in spiritualism in the past, there's been quite a lot of communications and good, solid, proper communications, not just mediums saying things, but physical mediumship of kings and queens and the seances that were done with the royal family.
Queen Victoria.
Yeah, and the messages that came through some of that, the ones that we have, seem to suggest that once you get to the spirit world, status in terms of worldly status means zero.
No.
The fact that you've been a king or queen means nothing.
Well,
you are purely
we're all
judged
passing
upon your
through, Craig,
character.
paying ground rent while we're here on planet.
That's right. Yeah, there's no pockets in a shroud, whether it's a royal shroud or one of our own.
The next one.
David's saying, would he have made his 100th birthday had the stress of Harry and Meghan's interview not taken place?
I don't think it was the stress. I think he was a very ill man. And because if he had an infection around his heart, that's quite dangerous. And I believe they've done everything they could to help him. But though it doesn't, I think a lot was not told. A lot wasn't told to him.
I think when your time's to go, it's times to go, sort of thing with death, actually. But it's an interesting question. I bet that's something, David, that the press are going to talk about.
Yeah, they will.
I mean, was all this, the severe stress? Because I mean, he got ill with his heart about exactly the same time. We were getting the Oprah Winfrey. Interviews,
I think that'd be unfair to blame Harry and Meghan.
I agree,
because he was getting on, wasn't he?
I mean,
he'd have been 100 in June.
But the fact that it's not true doesn't mean that people won't think it.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Well, I think it's going to make more people turn against Meghan.
And this is what I say: it's puts a dark light on them still, really, because these are not very nice times, and this is not a good time for tearing families apart. And
I don't know if you knew, Craig, but Prince Phillip was very good at doing carriage with horses.
Yeah, he was not so good at cars.
Yeah, but he had an interest. He's quite an interesting man, actually. He was very good at sports, and I think he liked cross-country jumping and things over hurdles and different things.
Well, he spent a long time in the Navy, and he's pretty fit.
Yeah, but from boarding school, he'd have been brought up to be very tough and just get on with it, like having cold showers and getting a sport, and he threw himself into it. So he's a man to be admired, really.
I always thought when you see the speeches of him when he was a younger man, he comes across as quite a powerful and good speaker.
Yeah.
In many ways, I think that's one of the things you could admire about him, actually, because, he always had to take a secondary position to the Queen. And that's not easy for anybody to take a secondary position all through your life.
It's easy for you to say that.
No, but you know what I mean. She's the Queen. That's it. That means you are the Queen. No matter what, if you have a family argument between the two of you, she's still the Queen, right? I kind of think I know how he feels, but
believe him.
But that is something that Meghan couldn't do. That Harry is the prince, not me, or the Queen's the Queen, not me. Kate's in line for the throne, not me. I mean that's where I think Philip was the real epitome of what royalty is all about. Really, about understanding.
I think the public haven't really seen him, though he was forthright. I believe he was quite a kind man underneath.
Yeah, I mean, and he had his own interests. Like, I mean, he got Charles set going on all the things like the environment and things like that.
Yes,
yeah. I mean, so he's quite a figure in that respect. I mean, I wonder what do you think Charles is thinking? Well, he obviously broken-hearted.
Well, I'm sure he's upset. I mean, even though his father was tough on him and sent him to his boarding school, that was to toughen him up.
Yeah, from the spiritual point of view, I mean, Charles thinks a lot about the spirit world. I think, particularly because of the sudden loss of his uncle. Would he be his uncle? Mountbatten.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. And so I'd expect that in the spirit world. There must be some reunions about to happen there, with the Mountbattens in particular.
I expect Louis would meet him.
And I'm sure that Philip would. The idea of awakening into the new world, as it were, after you've had a body that's 99 years old and suddenly finding you've just got the spirit body, there must be a tremendous release, particularly when you've lived a long time like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this applies to everybody, not just royalty, but. These are things.
Definitely his sisters would have come for him, and his mother.
Like Caroline saying, will Philip be at his own funeral? Well, he will.
Maybe not in spirit, Craig. In body, he's got to heal yet.
Well, I was talking about this on the Patreon site yesterday when people were asking questions, which will be posted later on, actually, on YouTube as well, this one. But I was talking about how the spirit world see this world. They see it not quite like stood next to us, they don't stop in one place standing next to us. They kind of get I described it as being like seeing it in a peripheral view. You get a vision of it all, but you're not necessarily watching all the detail. You connect every now and again,
the consciousness.
It's a consciousness. It's hard to explain. And I think it's impossible to explain unless you've actually in the spirit world and know what you're doing, But so in effect, he will be aware of his own funeral. And that's going to be interesting because I don't think they're going to be able to have the huge pageants that you would normally.
Well, because the virus, they've also requested from Buckingham Palace not to leave flowers outside.
Yeah, And I'm sure they would have something pretty substantial still. They'd have the pageant, but without the massive crowds, which would be almost like.
Do you think he'd be in the chapel of Windsor Castle? He must be.
I guess so.
Don't they have 4 candles at each end of the coffin? He'll probably be in state like that.
But I think from thinking about the future again with this, the Queen is not going to abdicate. I mean, one of the thoughts is when things like this happen, people think, will she abdicate? And no, I feel she's gonna stick at it for quite some time. So Andy's saying, shall I read it out? Do you want to read it out?
You read it.
Evening, Jane and Craig. I think he died of cancer. Oh, was it? And he was sent home to die. So the Queen knew he was going to die as Charlie, who went to see him in hospital. He drove 100 miles round trip to see him. I met Prince Philip, and my impression was he never took fools lightly.
No, you know Andy.
Forthright. Oh yeah, I do. Actually, yes. So yeah, that's right. I think he was a really forthright character, wasn't he? He'd
Good for
speak
him.
his mind, and I mean, in all.
And he used to swear and use that F word.
I know. And in the world when nobody's supposed to speak out of turn, he would.
Well, good for
the
him.
Things he said about people, the Chinese and people. God, he was.
He could get away.
Were terrible.
Well,
he could get away with it because he's royalty.
Yeah, they probably were mortified. They didn't know what to say.
Most people would have been, humiliated and made to resign, wouldn't they? As a politician. So Ireland saying, do you think that Harry will mend bridges while he's in the UK? Do you think he will regret the Oprah Winfrey interview?
Do you know what? I see Harry, to be quite honest with you, bewitched by his wife. I really do. And I believe 100% that. And I feel it's awkward for him because he has the love of his family and he has the love of his wife. So, he's been pulled. Eventually he will come back to live here, but not at the moment. The timing's wrong.
I get the sense with him that it will build bridges again. It will build a lot of bridges. And I think more so because he kind of will get contact with friends and things. Because, sometimes when a person first gets married, they lose touch with all their friends. And when they see their friends, suddenly their old self opens up again. And I think for him, some of the things that his mates might say to him from the army and things like that might have a very strong influence upon the way he thinks. And although we won't see it initially, I think we might see a bit of a change with him. I think he's a very confused young man, as the Queen kind of suggested.
Wow, it's not his fault, is it?
It's not his fault. I mean, he's not like anybody else. What we like about him is that he is pretty open and
he's sensitive.
Like one of the lads.
He's a sensitive boy.
That's
very sensitive.
And I think as you probably guess, we don't like Meghan much. But I think she's played.
It's not we don't like Meghan. I think his father and Prince William will try and will embrace him, but it will be back at the mind. Well, what are you going to do about this sort of thing? But the Queen, of course, she loves him and would welcome him back with open arms. But I think it's gone beyond that now.
We did the Diana seances, of course, didn't we? So it would be interesting if we could have had something like that again and actually got some. You can't do these things, just pull people out the air like some people do. You have to have people around your table who are closely connected to the royalty. But I would be interested to think what Diana and Philip's reaction to each other would be in the spirit.
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean they meet up immediately, Craig.
Not necessarily instantly, no. And there's often what happens when people, and we've often found this when spirit messages come through, that there's a certain amount of forgiveness that happens when you go in the spirit world. It's like, I think when a person enters the spirit world, suddenly certain things that were very, very important that you were bound to in the world of this world, suddenly don't become important again. And I think you see with a greater clarity. And this is why you often find that there's often messages of forgiveness that come through the spirit world. So I'd imagine that they would probably even meet.
I think the Beatrice and what's the other, the Duchess of York's daughter's called? One's Beatrice, what's the other one called? Eugenie. I think we'll have news of a pregnancy soon and a Eugenie.
Okay, there's a prediction from Jane that Eugenie's going to be pregnant soon. Do you feel that his passing will be healing for the family? Well, we kind of said that. I think it will be a bit as a pass, as a healing in a way.
I think bereavement does bring people closer together, but sometimes at funerals, people's emotions
go too far.
Yeah, you don't know. It might bring a lot of emotions out, and words could come out that not necessarily forgiving.
Yeah, suppressed feelings can come out, can't they?
Transference.
And yet there's, because the whole thing with grief, isn't there? There's the shock.
Yes.
There's the anger that comes out. It always comes out with a bit of anger. Then there's the disbelief and so forth.
Yeah.
All these things come out in different times and different ways. They say it sometimes in stages. And then there's kind of a acceptance. And often after we've had all that, there's a sort of healing process that comes. Because I think when a death happens in any of our families, it brings you up to the fact that, we are all mortal beings.
Just a short while.
We live through this world as if it's going to be here forever, and of course it's not.
Life's
millions
precious.
of people have been before us. And I think it makes you think, and I think it might help them think.
Elisa's saying about healing. I put my glasses on.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's why. Okay. Do you feel that his passing will bring healing for the family? That's what we've just been talking about.
Yeah, we have. We've just talked about that, Lisa. Sorry. Well, I just hope and pray that it does bring healing for all of them.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it will help a lot. So give us your questions. Put your questions up. Any thoughts you've got? Any opinions you might have about it? Anything you found interesting? Any of the gaffes you found interesting with Prince Phillip? Or any quotes or comments or thoughts that you might have? All of that's appreciated. Any questions you might have about the future of the royal family, and particularly the things happening at the moment?
Nina says, do you think that Philip just gave up on living because of all his ailments? Could he have possibly lived for long? I don't think so, because I think when it's your time, nobody can stop it.
And I think he was a pretty positive mindset.
Oh yeah, actually. Strong character.
He's a stubborn sort of man,
yes.
Really. He was going to do these things and blow you all. And I think that's probably. I think that often, I think some people live a long time just to spite everybody.
This one will.
And I'm sure he'd appreciate that comment. But that is the sort of the way that some people are, aren't they? They it's not always the kindest people that live longer, but those that have a determined spirit. And I feel that he was of that nature, wasn't he?
A man. I also felt a man in uniform came for him, and I don't know why I'm seeing. I know he's associated with the Navy, but I see a gunner as well.
Really? Oh, that's interesting. And my immediate thoughts went to Mountbatten, funnily enough.
Yeah, and I saw a horse as well, because he's very much into horses and carriage riding. Yeah.
I'm sure there's people in the royal family that are close to them that the public don't really know much about. The people that they make real friendships with are probably people that we never hear of. People in the royal household, people they've been served time in the forces with, and so forth. And if we ever able to give a reading, say, to the Queen, we'd have to give messages and things you could never know in the press, wouldn't you?
You'll find the Queen Mother is very much around her daughter around this period of time, and her father.
Yes, yeah. It must be interesting from his point of view to see, his family that would stretch. Well, he came from the Greek line, but would see all the royal families through history, which would all perhaps be connected there in the spirit world, that lineage of people. And why, I often wonder why, we're all born into this life with things to do, but what sort of karma would a person have to be born as a king or a queen or a royal household, It must be a very special destiny, a very special fate.
Yeah. Patrice says, will there be a king even after William? I'm afraid not.
No, we've said this before.
No, there won't be.
That we don't think there will be.
We'll be becoming more like America.
That's going to become kind of, the royal family will change to the point that it's no longer as we see it. Like
it'll become more like America, won't it?
Yeah. Whether we have a full republic or not, I'm not sure. But I think in the long term, actually, Britain and America are going to become much more entwined as countries, and the longer term future of Britain and America, I've often said this, I believe will be as one nation, and Britain and America will become one nation. but that's a long way ahead. Not in my lifetime, or probably anyone watching this. But I think it will be in time. So that's a prediction beyond my lifetime. That's easy, isn't it? If I get it wrong, nobody can say. But I mean, that's Silver Brown type predictions. But no, but that's what I understand. I feel. I love animals and saying, what is your opinion on the short, curt message from the Sussexes?
What's the curt message from the Sussexes?
I don't know. What's the one recently? I didn't see it.
I didn't see it. I don't know.
Are we talking about something that's just happened? If so, we're out of touch.
Enlighten us, please.
I'm sorry what that was. Not sure whether we're talking about something that's been. I'm not sure. There's something new that we haven't seen because we haven't been watching all of the news today. So I can't answer that one very well.
Right, so next one, Craig.
Will Catherine and William have one more child, just as the Queen and Prince Philip had their son?
I think you'll find she's pregnant at the moment.
We were saying that when we were watching the news.
There's a fourth baby to come. I reckon she's pregnant at this very time.
And we were saying this before this happened today. We were saying yesterday, weren't we? We were saying she's pregnant.
Yeah,
she's pregnant. And I was wondering when you said it first, to be honest. You said, and I said, yeah, you're right. And the thought was, did she get pregnant almost like a little bit of outdoing each other?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. I think all sorts of things go on in people's minds about intentions.
No, she's very into
but
children.
Then she doesn't show that, does she, in her shape?
Well, she's very tall, like a runner bean.
Runner bean. But I mean, there was a sense that, there was.
This would be her last baby.
Yes, I wouldn't be any more beyond that. No, definitely. So there's another prediction for you from us that you can hold us to account on in the future.
Well, we know.
but that's what we feel is going to happen. I stick with. Jane said it first, but I mean, we both were saying that yesterday when there was something on the news. Well, not on the news, but on the clip.
Oh, don't you remember I predicted that Meghan was 6 weeks pregnant, and I was right.
Yeah,
and gave the date.
Yeah, that's right. I remember you even did it on the big breakfast we had. What was it on the big breakfast you made? A really major one, didn't you?
I made a prediction that Princess Anne would marry, and I said where the venue was, and they all laughed, and it happened. And
that was on national TV live, wasn't it? And that caused quite a stir. So because Jane and I have been doing these prediction type things for a long time. That was 1992 or 1991.
1994. It was called Tomorrow's News Today.
Yeah, with Paul Yates, and that was on the Big Breakfast show. Which you probably remember the Big Breakfast because it ran for a long time. Because this was episode 7. I think it was the first week. So it started on the Monday and we were on the Friday.
Yeah.
And we were doing predictions. And in fact, the reason we got on the show, I remember, is because it was you that said they asked us to make some predictions in the interview, and it's okay. And Jane said one of the Queen's corgi's going to die, and next week the Queen's corgi died, didn't it?
Yeah,
so you got that one right.
And they said things.
Oh, we've got to have you two.
Yeah. I think we were chosen out of 350 psychics.
Oh, they were queuing at the doors, but we just kind of, they rang us, didn't they, and asked us to.
Bob Geldof.
Yeah.
But then that's not the most important thing, being on television, Craig, or films.
Oh, no. But
most important thing is who you are.
The problem is, if you're going to do anything like this type of work, unfortunately, you do need to be seen. Hence why I love YouTube. You do need to be seen. Otherwise, you and me just be doing this, and all the neighbours might think we're marvellous. But our message can't get out, can it? And that's why you do a bit of television, though. Television always sort of takes it to brings it down on a level that is not really what you want to do. Performing monkeys, I say. So if you've got any more questions, do put them up. And if you find all this interesting and like talking to us like this, if you become a patron, you can actually join us on the Zoom meetings in which I give some sort of one-to-one talks with people, and you can ask your questions directly as a patron. And I did a video, I've been working on a video, just editing it today, of the one we did on Thursday, I think it was, where some of the patrons came in and asked questions, or they can put questions in and I'll answer them online for them. And I'll be publishing that particular one as an example on YouTube coming up in the next few days. Let's give you an idea of what we do there. But it is quite fun, and you'll see at the end of when we finish tonight, you'll see a whole list of all the patrons that have been helping us on the on the top tier levels of it too. So then you can ask your questions. Not clairvoyance, personal clairvoyance, but that's sort of, we have some general questions about spiritual development and your personal spiritual development.
This is
and
interesting.
Things like that.
Now, David Reese, do you see a very different celebration for the Queen's platinum anniversary next year? Now he's passed, or something big? Well, I should think Prince Charles will be there with his mother, and there will be a celebration because she's dedicated herself to the people, hasn't she?
I think it's going to be probably one of the biggest
It will be
celebrations
big.
we've ever had.
Yes.
And I think there's going to be every excuse in the book, once this coronavirus is out of the way, to have celebrations, because not only do people want to let off steam and feel a bit more in a bit more of an optimistic mood, but that optimistic mood has a lot of powerful effects on things like politics, and it has a very powerful effect on spending, and therefore the economy, and all the rest of it. So I think, certainly here in Britain, I think there'll be, I see, because I remember a few readings I've done for people who've been actors and things, and I've said, I see a huge celebrations going on. I was doing the readings, and because, when we do readings for people, sometimes you get glimpses of things that just come from out of nowhere. And I think there's going to be, just like it was around the time of the millennium, where there's a whole load of, I've seen acrobats, circus soleil.
I think people will look forward to it.
I think there's going to be a lot of that. It won't be all of a sudden, because we're going to come out of this slowly. So this year is probably still going to be, we'll still kind of be staggering from the coronavirus, as it were.
For everyone.
But by the time we get to the new year, and the time we get into next year, worldwide, America and the Western world and the rest of it, particularly because we're getting there quicker, but worldwide too, I think there will be many celebrations.
Now, Patrice saying, will Prince Andrew give testimony in the Epsom case? I don't think so.
No.
He'd be hidden away.
Oh, he said this all the time. I mean, it's hard to predict something that's not going to happen, but I think, because I think with him, I just think he's going to wiggle like a snake to get out of things, And again, all this that's going on now is one more thing that kind of pushes all that into the background, and people kind of forget it. We might better pull a few things out the bag and keep it behind the scenes.
How can the American people demand that he faces to go to court? There's nothing they can do, is there?
You had hard enough trouble extraditing that person that had the accident from the where that woman run that boy over, didn't they, from the embassy, from America, the
army, it was here, Craig,
over here, but she was from America and she cleared off. I mean, I had trouble enough doing that.
Of course, the case does come up in July, doesn't it? And Maxwell's daughter, what's her name? She's still incarcerated, isn't she?
Yes, yeah.
So all the money in the world,
it would be nice to see justice there, really.
It will be justice.
It would be nice to see justice, but those sort of things, they very rarely get proper justice, But let's hope. I hope we're wrong.
Well, justice for those young girls.
Yeah.
I think it's terrible.
Will the Amitabha?
What's that?
Amitabha, if that's the right pronunciation, probably an Indian name, I think.
Amitabha Ray.
Will this death make the Queen call for the end of monarchy after her death?
No,
she would never do that.
No, because William's been trained, and Prince Charles all his life's been waiting in the wings. I think Prince Charles would be a great king myself, and so will William.
Yeah, I think they will both.
Because he's very much aware of the environment and things happening, and he's quite a spiritual person.
I think Charles will inevitably have a short reign because his mother lives a long time.
72
But
now.
I don't think he's going to be a man that's going to live a long time like Philip.
Oh, no, you can't predict it.
But no, but I don't think he'll live a long time. So I think we'll see William as a king in my lifetime, I think.
William Wombat, that's what his mother used to call him.
Did she?
Yeah. He's like the Wombles of Willington.
That's an interesting question too from Lisa there. Which member of the royal family will be impacted the most by Philip's passing? Well, I would say the Queen. I mean, because they shared so much through their life.
I think will. I think the Queen, and I also think Charles.
Yeah, of course, and of course from from the Queen's point of view, she came to the throne as a really young girl. Really, she was
20s.
Very young, and Philip was kind of her rock. In the same way, it must be the same sort of feeling as Victoria had for Albert. Really,
Absolutely.
because who can you turn to? Who in all that world of curtsying before you and seeing you as some sort of like, you know, remote figure. Even your own family have to treat you a bit like a remote figure. Who have you got that you can confide in? And Philip was obviously a person that, you know, he knew how to keep his mouth shut basically when he had
a backbone,
to, apart
wasn't
from
he?
the gaffes and things. But you know, he obviously, you know, he was prepared to sort of stand behind her and support her and be the support. Without that foundation, I think she will find it quite difficult. I'd imagine her reign from this point on will be much, much harder for her.
Yeah, I do feel sorry.
I mean, look at Victoria. She became a changed woman after the death of Albert, didn't she? And I'm sure it would be, although I'm sure she's prepared herself psychologically for this, it's not going to be easy. So that was an interesting question.
I think it will be Ireland. I think it will be hard on Prince Charles because his father was quite hard on him, wasn't he, as a young lad? That's why his uncle, Mountbatten, took him under his wing.
Camilla will live a long time, I think.
Do you think so? She's a smoker, Craig.
I know. I still think she'll live a long life, actually.
Well, I mean, you can't say when they're going to pass, but there is something wrong around Prince Charles, because if you look around his aura and that, he's not 100% healthy.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think he's not quite, you know, I don't know whether he exercises. I wouldn't have thought he did.
Well, he horse rides.
Horse rides, yeah.
Polo.
But I don't know. I don't know with Charles yet, though. I think he will make a good king.
He will.
I think he'll be quite light, because he'll bring a little bit of humour to it.
I think he's from the old school, the old establishment.
Yeah, and I think he'll be able to continue in the sort of the old ways, as it were.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing moves quickly in the royal family. It's just like in the Catholic Church and religion and so forth. It moves at a snail's pace, and that's because it is weighed down with the traditions of the past. And I think, you know, I think therefore that like the Queen won't make sudden changes to abdicate. I've always felt that she'd go on as long as she possibly can. Maybe, I think, even onto her deathbed.
Onto her last breath.
Yeah, her last breath, she will be the Queen.
Yeah,
you know,
like Victoria.
I couldn't see her ever saying that, you know, it's time to put her feet up. She'd never do that.
This wonderful monarch has dedicated herself to all the people and so many countries, nations and that. So, you know, you can't just cut it off like that.
No, that's right. James is saying here, is there a hall of healing in the spirit world? Is that where Prince Philip will be for recovery? Yeah,
there is.
Yeah, in spiritualism, I mean, not everybody thinks a little bit differently with a lot of these things, but there's this idea that in the spirit realm, there's an area, there's a like they call it the hall of healing. It's like an aspect of the spirit world, because that is where a healing takes place when a person first moves into the spirit.
It's your consciousness.
And sometimes the spirit people talk about this. So, I mean, describing what the spirit world like is a whole thing in itself. That's how I wrote my book, What to Do When You're Dead.
Can I just say something, Craig? It's like, say all your life you wanted to live in a cottage and you couldn't afford it. Suddenly you're transported to this wonderful cottage with roses around the door. Of course, you haven't got washing machines and things like that in there, or have to do a bit of housework, or do a bit of housework. And you're suddenly in a beautiful setting. It might be that you can see the sunset coming up and you're in a bliss, if you like.
I think you do live a kind of idealized version of this world. I mean, that sounds a bit silly to some people, I think, but I think that's how it works when we go into the spirit world. It's a formless place. So I say it's molded like you
remember your Aunt Mary, and she said, because she was quite a biggish lady, she said, I hope they got a larder, a food larder in the spirit world. Do you remember Goody Goody?
Yeah. Funny. Yeah. And she wrote a lot of funny notes for us when she left, actually. Charles is saying, Charles Jewell, how long it takes for a spirit to reincarnate again if we die with low vibration within 4 to 5 years, higher vibrations, so someone like Sathya Sai Baba within 50 years, and died accidentally in 2. I don't necessarily think... I think as you develop spiritually, i.e. like you're talking about vibration, as your vibration becomes more advanced or higher frequency, the need to reincarnate becomes less. And the the desire, the willpower to reincarnate becomes less. So I think a highly evolved person will probably choose to incarnate because they feel there's more they can give to the world. Where somebody that's only been on this world on a very low vibrationary way would tend to reincarnate quicker. And somebody that has sometimes that had massive shock and been taken over very fast and has a very strong dying desire to be back here may reincarnate very quickly. That's why we get people that are born and remember their mum down the street that used to be their mother before and things like that. We're going to do a whole program next Friday. It was going to be tonight, actually, about reincarnation, but we did switch the theme tonight at the last minute because of what happened. But next week, it will be back on. It's actually on Facebook if you want to go there and click
Memories
the link
and past
to follow.
lives.
It's no, it's not up there yet, but it will be up there. I couldn't put it 7 days. You have to have a gap. But it'll be up there very shortly. So you'll be able to follow that one or follow the YouTube channel. Keep following this channel.
Jenna Jones, I want to become a patron, but I don't know how. Can you help me? Can you help her now, please, Craig?
Well, it's easy, really, Jenna. If you go onto the YouTube version of this, you're on YouTube at the moment. So if you go into the description below, so if you get on a computer and you look at it rather than your phone, well, it'll be on your phone too, but you look at in the description, there's the links of where to go. So you can just go in there and you click, and it'll take you to the patron page. And then you get a choice of 3 tiers. So you can just give us a little bit per month, which is the $3 one. But you
or even if you really like us, $150 one.
No, it's not $150.
Oh, is it not?
$20 is the maximum.
Oh,
on the
that's cheap.
No, I know, but that's just for people that want to contribute or take part in some of the stuff. It's more like people who are just helping. They just sort of say, well, we like Craig and Jane. Yeah, we like to see this show. We like to support it. We love the work they're doing, charitable work and so forth. We'll give us $3 a month or give $20
well, you could
a
even
month.
buy a magazine for $3.
I know, but or you can go on to, which I expect Dominica put the link up. If you wanted to give a bigger amount of money, we've now set up a page for the Just Giving, GoFundMe rather, GoFundMe, which the link's there, which you can just give some money. I mean, that's just people that want to help. Because as you know, we're trying to do something, we're trying to open a centre, a spiritual centre. We've been doing some, we've been looking at some places. We've seen one place that we thought was fantastic, but we're a little bit concerned about some of the things. But, we're hopefully going to be opening a spiritual centre, firstly by partly renting, and then eventually buying a whole place. So we need your help, and thank you to those that have helped, some in little ways like through the patron, and some in more substantial ways who have done fantastic things for us. So all of this together will help us to take this spiritual work onto a new level, and particularly once we're out of the way with all this coronavirus. And of course you can always make some comments on Facebook and things, and make some comments here now and afterwards, and tell us about your experiences so that you can come and become a guest when we've got this place open. And we'll pick up on the people that have been asking who want to come along and become guests on the show, particularly if you've got some really interesting experiences to share or expertise such as, regression powers or things, those sort of things. We'll start bringing all sorts of unusual sort of stuff for special evenings.
Yes, yeah. Or even if somebody bleeds the psychic as well.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing, Jane and I, with this type of way we're doing it at the moment, we can't really show our
full potential.
We can't show our powers of reading and so forth. But once we've got a setup where we can invite guests and we can do it in the right setting, we're going to be doing a few of our, I suppose you could call them seances or connections. We're going to do some proper spirit connections, and you never know, we might even get some famous people with us. If you're watching, you'll be welcome to join us.
We do know famous people.
Yeah, we can, but we'll get in touch. So last questions for tonight, guys, and don't forget to like this and share it. If you share it on Facebook, other people will see it, your friends will start to connect, and it will help to build the connections between us all. And if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the channel. Now you can subscribe to us on Facebook, you can subscribe to us on YouTube, or you can subscribe to us on both. And leave some comments too. Come back and have another look at the video. If you have another look at it again, stick a comment on there and give it a thumbs up, because that all helps us with the rankings of these sites and helps get and spread it out to more people who have, you know, shared opinions and shared ideas like we all have here tonight. David Rees, in the last questions coming up now. Will the Queen win the Nobel Peace Prize next year? She's been nominated. That's an interesting thought. I didn't even know she would. That's caught me.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. She should get something.
I think she could be.
Yeah, because I think, you know, you think of the service she's given around the world. She'll definitely go down in history as the longest monarch, longer than Queen Victoria.
I think she could.
She's longer than Queen Victoria. She will.
Yeah, I think she will get that. I'm just trying to sort of tune into it as a way. She will. I think she will.
Yes.
She will get the Nobel Peace Prize.
She deserves it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You weren't, Craig. Sorry. They not got you.
I don't know who's been nominated to it, but I'm just seeing if anybody else comes to mind who might also get that.
Well, I think probably the person that invented the Oxford vaccine.
There you go.
That's definitely will, because saving the world.
I mean, there were a number of very noble people there. I was really amazed at the humility, modesty of some of those people when they were speaking about it. You know, incredible advances that they'd all made. I mean, science did some incredible stuff.
Yeah, I definitely feel he will, because he came up with that vaccine so quick and being tested.
Ireland again is saying, I think there will be a royal baby with the name Philippa or Philip. Yeah, you're probably right.
Well,
Prince Philip.
Actually, the granddaughter, Zara Phillips, she's named her son Philip in the middle name.
Oh, has she?
Yes.
Already? So it's kind of happened. Yes. And it might happen again. The choice of names is very important, of course, within royal families, because it also suggests the lineage down the line. You know, they don't choose modern sort of names or names that wouldn't be within the royal.
Do you remember Dane Edna asked what your name was, and you said Craig? You said, "Oh, I expect it to come back in fashion again."
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, she was daft. We put my mum up on the stage with Dane Edna, didn't we?
She got some Nivea cream as a gift.
Soap on a rope.
Funny.
Okay. Then how will the great-grandchildren deal with Philip's death?
Well, they'd be saddened, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Definitely. Because I think,
like with all children, you know, it's hard to understand the idea of death.
Sandringham, that used to be where they all had Christmas together.
Yeah.
So
I think when you're a child, one of the great things is you don't think about death, do you? Even though it comes up in the Disney cartoons and death's a threat in the background of stories and things, but you actually don't. It takes a little while before you start to think about death. Up to the age of 6, you're pretty much protected from the idea that things.
Oh, they're innocent and pure, aren't they?
But so it's not easy for anybody, is it, dealing with a bereavement? And it's sad because in a way the nation's grieving here in the UK, and the Americans look at us and think, God, you guys must be crazy, you know, with all this royal family and things. But they're kind of symbolic of the nation in a way, aren't they?
History.
You know, I mean, when I was younger, I would have never thought I'd ever be talking like this, you know, some old fart talking about that they think the royal family.
Can you rephrase that again and put it in writing what you just called yourself?
I would have been quite anti-royalty, I think, Ben, but I do think it has a function, you know, and I think it's something that can be quite good to bring people together. It's like having pets. I should
imagine the Queen will be lost without him. They've obviously been told beforehand. That's why he came home.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we're coming to the end now, are we? Will there be any surprises in his will? Well, he hasn't got a great deal of money, Philip, has he? Not in the same sense that...
the Queen's one of the richest women in the world, so he won't be a will.
Interesting thought. I haven't thought about that.
Well, his medals will go down the line, won't they?
Yeah.
For a start.
I don't think I can't see anything real big surprises in it, like, you know, giving money to Harry or anything like that, or to some unusual charitable thing.
No, I think.
No, I can't see it. No, nothing's come to me on that, so I don't think so. I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. It's not normally the way the royal family would behave, anyway, is it?
He didn't mention you in it, Craig.
No,
I'm sorry.
Nothing coming to me. No. I think
a bucket. He might give you a bucket of horse manure.
Yeah, the royal family keep coming around and knocking on the door and trying to give us money.
Royal family.
We say no, you can't. The Agility Bits, thank you for an interesting discussion, Craig and Jane. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you all have a great weekend.
Thanks for joining us. Yes.
I think we're going to have cold weather, aren't we? And rain,
it's
Craig.
horrible days tomorrow, but not bad after that. That's in the UK. You're all over the world. You've probably got lovely weather where you are in California and the rest.
I love animals. Thank you both. That lovely nice. Cat.
Yeah, amazing how these animals manage to do all this typing.
So clever.
They're incredible, you know. They seem to be able to sort of send messages and ask questions. So it looks like we're coming to the end. So anyway, thank you all for joining us. Thanks for being part of this. Thanks for supporting it. Don't forget, follow it. Go and have a look at the Patreon pages. Thank you again, it says Lorraine. Thank you, Craig and Jane. Enjoyed this evening.
Good, thank you,
and it's
Lorraine.
Good of you to come. And yes, we've got a few more saying goodbye as well. Namaste, says Nana. Namaste to you too. And keep following the channel. We'll try to bring a few more videos out soon as well for you. So I guess we should say goodnight.
And a cup of tea for me,
yes,
and a cup of tea for you,
idea.
Craig.
We'll have a chat with them and go online afterwards. Yeah. Okay, see you soon, folks.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you. Bye for now. And thanks to Domenico for helping.
Would you like to know more about the paranormal world? Craig Hamilton Parker's books are now available on Amazon. Explore the future. Discover what happens after death. Unlock the secrets of your dreams. Learn to develop your own psychic skills.